Hello, everyone. Welcome back to FPL Jedi Show. This is the Fixtures release day for season 2025-2026. Stream, my name is Hafiz, and I would like to welcome my buddy Azmin to the stream. How's your break been so far?
It's all right. Baca juga in terms of transfer news. Um, and also I'm currently playing the Club World Cup, but in a very relaxed way, not too seriously. Just something to pass the time lah.
Right, great stuff. You're enjoying your break, but at the same time, you're playing the Club World Cup. For myself, I'm completely taking my break. Yep, just work and family life, but I'm still keeping um my tab into the transfer news. Especially, we already conclude the first so-called transfer window ahead of that Club World Cup. Then currently we are open back to the real window so-called up to until the 1st September, and then the all activity transfer is definitely the one that we are looking at for coming season. And also there's no like live matches in Astro for the Club World Cup, right? I mean, so I can't really
Tak ada. So itulah. That's why it's even more passive. I pun can't be bothered looking for illegal streams to watch. So memang just check the scores, live text basically. And also reading some news, and then of course the most one of the most not say controversial but most popular news that keeps coming up is how tak cukup orang tengok this Club World Cup. So
okay, 26.
um, but but obviously I know that some of it is partly in terms of the timing, because some of the matches are what to 3 petang in US, orang kerja, and they don't have the same um, football punya culture. They want American football, not so much. Soccer tu ada juga, but
So
not
imagine
macam
like
UK.
that in Malaysia, then we decided to take MC and so on, just go to watch the
Eh,
games.
itulah exactly. You can do it once, but how often you gonna do it? And America is not exactly the place. So, I think one match that kept coming up was Chelsea punya match where they showed the stadium macam memang nampak kosong. Tapi it's not just Chelsea, it's basically everyone. So but the game continues. It is a FIFA officially recognized tournament. So and coming back to what we're going to discuss today, I'm sure teams like Chelsea and City, there may be a bit of impact for when they start off the season later on.
All right, great stuff. As you all know, why we are here today is just to do a quick stream in terms of today is a special day in terms of the Premier League, because it's a fixture day release, and we can see there's a lot of all the matches has been revealed, and we can at least take a look at the fixtures that happen for the 20 teams. But you also know what matches coming up. At least people already looking at the fixture ticker is already up in every single Premier fantasy league and so on. People are tweeting
Yep.
and discuss what kind of fixture, captaincy, the players that you want to pick. FPL is not live yet, but this is the starting of the new season. So I think pretty much I'm a bit excited. At least the FPL should be live somewhere middle of July, so it's pretty much far away. But at least it's a start in terms of looking at the fixture. All right, why not we just jump straight to it, man? Which
Yep.
is we take a look what will be the first match of the new season, the opening weekend, game week one. Surprise, surprise. It will be Liverpool versus Bournemouth at home in the Friday night match. So we will know definitely. I think since like for the past 2 years, we know the first game week one will be on Friday night deadline. So pretty much excited on that. Liverpool playing at the home, not against the promoter side, but it's still a favorable match. I can see that the opening match against Bournemouth. Um, uh, Kirkers could be playing against his old club. We shall see on the what kind of transfer news in terms of where they live, but that could be a potential. Now on Saturday, early kickoff, lunchtime, I think Aston Villa, Newcastle, interesting one. It's definitely a good match in terms of both club are a strong team. The the narrative is this is like Newcastle qualify for the Champions League at the expense of Aston Villa. All right, so this in the opening, and Aston Villa Newcastle is like a last year first week match also, and if I remember, Newcastle win big 5-1 against Villa. So, but this I don't know how the turnout will be. Then Brighton versus Fulham. We have the Europa League qualifier, Nottingham Forest for this year against Brentford at home. All right, with Thomas Frank already being the head coach for Spurs. So currently Brentford do not have any manager. Okay, and then we have the promoter side. I mean the Black Cats. They return. Sunderland return to the Premier League since 2016-17. The last time they are around. They have so-called a home fixture against West Ham. So a decent match, especially the fans would be excited to be back in the Premier League. Spurs with the new boss Thomas Frank, they are playing at home against promoter side Burnley, return under the manager of Scott Parker, and then we have Wolves against Man City, Saturday late night match. So City are playing Wolves away. We have on Sunday Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, another London derby, and then the big one, the Super Sunday, Manchester United versus Arsenal, spicy match for the game week one before Monday night match for the return of Leeds United playing at home against Everton. So, what stand out for you for match week one, Min?
Well, obviously, as a Liverpool fan, Liverpool versus Bournemouth first week, and possibly having ex players playing, against their old clubs. A bit slightly annoyed that it's on a Friday night, but 4 o'clock, and plus because it's at Anfield, it's hard for me not to watch it. So we'll have to make plans for it as we get closer to the dates. Aston Villa, Newcastle. Just to correct you, actually, Aston Villa whack in not the opening season, but in the fixture where Aston Villa versus Newcastle, Aston Villa did actually win 4-1. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit of a, as you mentioned just now, it is a bit of a at the expense of Aston Villa getting the CL. I think Aston Villa will want to do the same thing and show Newcastle that we haven't forgotten what's happened. So yeah, so that's good. It'll be a very interesting match to see. You mentioned Sunderland there. Yeah, yeah. I guess West Ham is one thing, but I guess um, the Sunderland Newcastle rivalry comes back again into the Premier League, so it's always spicy, always exciting. Wolves versus Manchester City should be also be an interesting one. So you got a City that is clearly looking to rejuvenate the squad, lots of changes, but at the same time they are in the CWC, so there's an impact there. Wolves, we saw the huge improvement under Vitor Pereira, but now they've lost Matthias Cunha and also Ryan Aitnuri.
Yep. Yep.
So two of the key players in last season. So we'll see how Vitor Pereira. To be fair, when Cunha wasn't playing last season, the team still stepped up. But yeah, again, without Cunha and Aitnuri, it should be interesting. And of course, and the other one, which is Manchester United versus Arsenal. Um, both teams haven't done much yet in the transfer window. At least, Manchester United obviously have picked up Cunha and been very
Okay.
noisy. But they still have a lot to do, and and they've got three players who've just recently been told that who are clear that they need to look for other clubs, which is Sancho, um, who's the other guy, the Garnacho,
Okay.
yeah, and
Okay. Garnacho.
yeah,
Yeah. Garnacho. Yeah.
yeah. Meanwhile, Arsenal's the hunt for the striker continues. So Gyökeres also currently being linked,
Yep.
but we'll
SO is it?
see. And yeah, supposedly people start. So very interesting in terms of the transfer window. But also one more point I want to make is Brentford, whose core team seems to be slowly getting stripped. So you got Flecken gone, Umbuemo going to United, and the manager Thomas Frank also gone. So you're looking at could be a totally different team
Yep.
when the new manager comes in. So lots of interesting things to look at.
All right. Okay. Maybe we just zoom in a bit into the normally what we discuss is which team are playing the promoted side. So we can see there
Yes.
Sunderland against West Ham. So the first one pop up in my mind is wow, Jared Bowen. Okay.
Bowen, who else?
Everton, right? Okay. All right. So maybe that could be a player that we are looking at West Ham against Sunderland. Then Spurs versus Burnley. So we are looking at we are not sure how that Spurs will line up with, but Malaysia Solanke can start that game. So those can be an option in game week one. And the other one, Leeds United versus Everton at home. Everton, I'm not too sure yet who are you are looking at. Everton still not signing anyone. I think the latest news is Kyle Walker, but that's not the player that we are looking at in terms of attacking, right? But
Hmm.
United at home. So I think, what do you think? Chances of promoted sides on the first game week?
Yeah, I guess Leeds up. I feel that they're pretty happy with the draw. They get to play the last, and and they're playing against Everton, who aren't exactly famous for scoring a lot of goals, even under Moyes. Well, even though they've improved under Moyes, but they still don't score much goals. Sunderland versus West Ham. Uh, I yeah, I mean, I haven't really looked into how good these promoted teams are.
Okay,
But again, Sunderland also would not be too upset with the draw. They're not facing any of the big guns top eight either. Uh, Burnley are facing Spurs, who were what 16 or 17 last season, but they did
yeah,
win the Europa League. Yeah, and the difference between Sunderland and Leeds compared to Burnley is that Burnley will be playing away, so which makes that Spurs game great, potentially good for um, FPL picks. But
okay.
again, it does. We need to find out from the manager, the new manager, Thomas Frank, how he shapes up the team.
Right, interesting. Same, and maybe we just quick discuss on captaincy in match week one. As you can see, most probably the standout maybe people just go with Liverpool player Mo Salah, but it's a Friday night match. So how's that feeling mean? Friday night match, we know, right? Those kind of
No, Friday night match. It has doesn't really impact. It doesn't get had that Gandikas because the Gandikas is usually for early Saturday morning matches. Uh, the thing is, Bournemouth are also having uh some of their key players being taken off, and we don't know whether or not it'll continue. You got Semenyo also being linked, and they could also potentially leave. The back line, which is Huijsen, has already left to Real Madrid, for
mm,
example. Yeah, and he's not the only one. So you've got players, Zabani also going off
yeah,
as
yeah,
well, and now
you're right.
potentially, and Kirkes, who's joining Liverpool. So that's the back line almost totally devastated. So yeah, at the moment I'm looking at that and thinking, yeah, Salah could be it for the captaincy. It's almost a shoe in at the moment based on the fixtures.
Yeah, yeah. I think looks likely that people are going there, but maybe we just discuss other option in game week one. Maybe Spurs versus Burnley could be at home.
Yes,
But I just want to Burnley having excellent season last year. I think they are conceding the best. Not conceding goals.
least
Concede only
conceding.
16 or 17 goals. All season. So Burnley tough in terms of their defense. Chelsea versus Palace. I'm not sure. Chelsea involved in CWC. Maybe they need fatigue and so on rest. You would go for Palmer against this? Still up for debate, but this could be one potential match that you might go. Who else? I don't think people will go Villa, Newcastle, or Manchester United versus Arsenal. So yeah, and West Ham. I think Rakan FPL did mention Bowen could be a potential captaincy for game one. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the one thing about Bowen is just that it's an away match. Sunderland will make sure that their supports are out in full force for the opening season at home, so they will make life hard for attacking West Ham. But yeah, uh, if I were to consider an alternative for Salah, I would really look at that Spurs match. So I be really want to track in terms of what Flecken Flecken blah, what Thomas Frank is doing in
Okay.
terms of the team, and also for example who's going to take penalties, who's going to be the key player, because all these things can change under new management. I'm really looking forward because at the moment in my head I'm looking at Liverpool, Spurs, um, Forest as well as in terms of early picks. Of course, we can look at the fixture ticker later as well.
Yeah.
Um, but we also have to, I'm also in terms of City, in terms of how they are currently
Mm.
reorganizing themselves. It'll be interesting to see. So tonight City actually play tonight as well. So we will see whether there's any changes or what Pep is doing as well. Yeah, whether or not, but we don't know whether or not that will something carry on to the Premier League. But it's interesting to watch, and we'd like to see because unlike the other teams, they are going to be in competitive play, City and Chelsea.
All right, good stuff. Let's take a look at the fixture ticker.
Yep.
This at least for the first 6 game week of the new season, and who is on top of the ticker. We talk a lot about the Black Cats, Sunderland. They are top of the ticker. If we can find some gem from the Sunderland squad of the team, maybe there is potential. I don't study that much in terms of all those promoted side. I do know Bellingham, the brother of Jude Bellingham, but he already moved to Borussia Dortmund. So I'm not sure who else there. But Sunderland is top of the ticker, and we can easily see he among the promoter side, they really have some favorable fixture that they can take advantage, especially second the game week 2 against Burnley. So Sunderland, Burnley, but they're playing away. So pretty much that Sunderland on top. Then Brentford. Yep. If let's say Bomo still in there, maybe we go there. But if let's say the likes of player like Bomo not there, so you're not sure who's gonna take those penalties. So Visa come into my mind in terms of Brentford. But with the new manager coming in, with a lot of players are moving on. So this is something that we should look at. And then Villa at third ticker. But if they still looking at the first 8, Villa is slightly higher. But still they have decent fixture. Newcastle at home, they play at home. The Brentford, Crystal Palace, Everton, Sunderland, and Fulham. So I can pretty much say if you're thinking the likes of Watkins, Morgan Rogers, right? So I think that's can one of those players. Okay? Then you did talk about Forest. I mean, they also say have decent fixture in the first 6. Brentford, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Arsenal away. Maybe that's the only tough match. Playing the top 6 club, Burnley and Sunderland in game week 5 and 6. Forest, yeah. Chris Wood come into my mind, but it's all depending on price and also their defense. I don't think they will come any like last season 4.5 sales, Milinkovic and so on. Okay, so that then Chelsea, I think they have decent fixture, but they have to be careful in terms of their participation in CWC, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham, Brentford, United, and Brighton. The There are no top 6 or 7 clubs there, right? So Manchester United also end up in 16, 17 place last season. So Chelsea could be an option. West Ham, you're looking at Bowen, Sunderland, Chelsea, Forest, Spurs, Crystal Palace, Everton. Set and forget. Just get Bowen in and just leave him. Because West Ham are not participating in any European competition. So you can see there. And then Spurs and City. Maybe a quick one on the lower ticker, the team with the worst fixture in the opening 6. Surprise, surprise. Newcastle and Arsenal. Yeah? Newcastle playing Villa, Liverpool, and Arsenal in the first 6. For Arsenal, I think they're pretty much tough. United, yeah, league's not bad. But Liverpool, Forest, City, and Newcastle. Are you going with any Arsenal players? That's a question that we can ask now. So, man, what do you think in terms of fixture ticker?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the stronger teams, Arsenal and Newcastle, are really like not very happy with the hand they've dealt. They're right there at the bottom. Although sure Newcastle have a bit of leads there, but other than that, and Arsenal have leads as well. But it's not very attractive. You think that Arsenal versus United still looks good for Arsenal as the current team stands, but we don't know. And United are already taking steps to change the team as well. Um, Up there, Sunderland, Brentford. Brentford. The problem with Brentford again, under new management, we don't know. It's still early days for us to figure it out what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it. Um, I like Villa very much. We mentioned just now how Newcastle, they whacked Newcastle 4-1, and all of the matches, when you look at it, none of them are against last year's top eight. Yeah, I think Fulham was the highest there. So Brentford, Crystal Palace, Everton, Sunderland. Obviously Crystal Palace did win the FA Cup, but yeah. So other than that, it's really looking good. And with Villa, as mentioned just now, they are a team that are not in the Champions League, so they're in better shape to really attack and go all out. Um, so you think that player like Watkins could become very very useful there. But at the same time with Forest as well, I can't understand. Forest look good with the exception of Arsenal, which is just one. Everything else looks really really attractive as well. So Chris Wood, is he gonna is it time for him to again, be that guy, the very unattractive guy who just somehow scores? So that's so you got Chris Wood there, and you got maybe Watkins, and obviously Watkins again once again fights off the threats for other strikers coming in and trying to supplant him somehow. With Rashford, doesn't look like he's gonna be a fixture anytime
Mm.
soon. So yeah, so that's definitely a lot of interest. Just now we mentioned Spurs, right? So as having a great opening fixture. So let's take a look at Spurs. Burnley, City, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Wolves. It's not bad actually when you look at it. Um, Also remember that City may still be recuperating for the CWC, so it is a chance for them. But yeah, the preseason for teams like Spurs is very important under new manager and how they set up. Yeah.
Right, great stuff. Maybe we talk a bit in terms of Liverpool fixture. Is it a mixed bag? I'm not sure because the first game week against Bournemouth and then Newcastle, then Arsenal in game week 2 and 3. But then after that, there's some February fixture coming up: Burnley, Everton, Crystal Palace. What do you think, mean in terms of Liverpool fixture?
Liverpool fixtures are a mixed bag. Yes, you got Newcastle and Arsenal there. Although with Salah, he can score. It's not an issue. So then, but after that, Burnley, Everton, Crystal Palace, these are really good. Um, we also have to, but again, preseason does matter. So we got our another expensive player in, so we need to see how he integrates with Salah and the rest of the squad as well, and see what works. Because sure we'll bring Salah in, but do we want to also bring in another? We need to look at that Liverpool back line, which you've got TA is no longer there, and how it's going to be replaced. And now there's there's a lot of rumors about Robertson also potentially leaving, whether it's just his agent Bahal, his agent just making noise intentionally. We don't know, but it's possible. So yeah, it's very exciting, but also nervous as well, I could say. I'm very interested to see what Slot does, because remember last season that Slot came in and didn't do much in terms of the transfer window, failed to get the midfield player that he wanted, and but just used what he did, what he had, and did well anyway. So yeah, I'm it'll be good. It'll be good. I'm very excited to see. And definitely we will. I would want to still, definitely I'll still put in Salah, but maybe an additional player depending on who takes a more active role. I mean, who's the second person? Last time, the second person after Salah is pretty much TA in terms of FPL wise. So I want to need to find out who steps up as the next best FPL player in the absence of Salah.
I think interesting because Frimpong already coming in. We are guessing what kind of API price he will have. Then Floren we should come in, even though it's not like official yet, but we are expecting him to be in. And then the rest should be in it, and maybe let's say Robertson Leaf and Kirkers coming in. Yep, there's some changes, but it's an exciting one. Keep us guessing what kind of API price for those players, but we try to fit in as much as possible. But with this kind of fixture, I think people still go with Salah. But double up, triple up is another one big depending on the price. And we are expecting Salah to have a price hike. I think this is what people are
Yes.
predicting. Yeah. I
So
think 12.5 last season. It could people talking about 13, 14, 15 max. I'm not too sure. What do you think, Ming?
yeah, so this is the problem with Salah. Yes, all this talk about I'm definitely gonna bring in Salah, but how much is he going to cost this time? It could actually definitely be a lot higher than it was before, simply because of how he did this
The
season.
most that Salah has been priced is 13 million in one
Yeah.
best. I forgot which is it.
Be,
He doesn't
be,
have more than that.
yeah, so arguably he was playing second fiddle behind Haaland in terms of pricing. But you would argue that this season Haaland might actually be priced cheaper than Salah, given how he was nowhere up to the standards of Haaland's first season, this time around. So it will make for interesting planning in terms of how how we set up our teams. But
Yeah.
uh, Salah will definitely be more expensive and than Haaland this season.
All right. Let's see how FPL will price those players. And maybe last a bit in terms of we should also talk about City because they signed like 4 players right during those CWC window. Cherky, Ryan Nuri, Snyder, if I'm right.
Neither.
KDB has moved to Napoli, and one more player, I forgot his name. So I think City made some significant signing. They signed Mamush in January transfer window
Yes.
last season. So with those fixture we're looking at, okay, caveat is they are participating in CWC right now, but they have some good fixture, I suppose. Wolves, Spurs at home, Brighton away, Manchester United, Manchester Derby, Arsenal in game week 5, and then Burnley. So yeah, it's Haaland against Salah again. I suppose if you're making a decision, if you try to fit both player and you can still make a decent team, then you can do that, but we just won't show. But if they say Salah and Haaland is the one choice that you want to make, I think this could be a critical one decision that you have to
Yeah.
make. So
Yeah. So then it becomes a case of having to, eventually when the prices come up, when FPL launches, um, starting to look at the uh, promoted sites where you can find the bargain deals to be able to fit in those premium players. And the other thing that you mentioned, because just now you mentioned Marmoush as well. So the thing with Marmoush as well that we probably need to think about is in terms of, uh, is it possible that he might be reclassified as a midfielder? So this is something, based on positional, because if you really wanted to look at it, you could argue that even Cunha should be reclassified as a midfielder. So based on how much he played, more of a attacking midfield rather than out and out striker. So again, these could have a good potential impact in terms of how we set up our teams. Given, like Cunha, he's such when he wasn't collecting red cards, he was a great FPL player. But in midfield could be even more. But of course, when it comes to Cunha, he has to share the stage with Bruno Fernandes. So that dilution of points could happen there. Um, I I will The Haaland thing is a wait and see lah. I think I'm not.
Okay.
keen on picking him and just yet, given he was not great last season, and he's also occupied. Let's see how he does with this World Cup, and basically how Pep sets up using those new players that you mentioned just now, as well. Who gets that first choice, and what happens to players like Foden, for example? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of players there. Foden, Savio, yeah, Gundogan still around, right? So yeah, Doku, Grealish might move out, so there's a lot of things are happening. Right, I think that's we just sum up in terms of fixture ticker. There's some excellent fixture for some team, top fixture for Arsenal. We touch a bit, maybe on Arsenal. Tough fixture, Liverpool, City, Newcastle. Are you going to have like Saka in your team?
Yeah, you know, there's a still case to make for having a attacking player, Saka, but you know, you would I don't know whether or not his price will go higher or just stay about there.
Yeah,
Simply
10 million. Yeah,
because defend sure in terms of the defensive side maybe a bit dodgy, but you know, Saka is such a reliable attacking asset regardless. So in and those fixtures he can score, you know, he can still score. Manchester United definitely, Leeds definitely, okay, Liverpool. We again it's possible because Liverpool are revamping their back line a bit as well. Um
right.
so then yeah, then after that Forest City might be a bit uh, Forest City and Newcastle aren't that great in terms of attacking because Forest always good. But then Arsenal, the good thing with that Forest City matches is that Arsenal are at home, so there's a advantage there that you can't underestimate.
Right. Quick one from Araka. You just mentioned about maybe Chelsea, Forest, and Everton defense will be the game one template. I haven't really see that. Forest maybe because they're traditionally are good in terms of defense. Chelsea, I'm not too sure. Everton might be, but Everton fixture, how is it? Leeds, Brighton, Wolves, Villa, maybe.
Yes, I love this question. Thanks, Raka FPL. So yeah, so given that we don't have the likes of Arsenal to use in for defense, auto inclusion, and even Liverpool no TAA, the rest not so clear whether or not you want to put them in. You could, but yeah, Chelsea and Everton definitely look it. Um, Everton, you know, Pickford could just. I've seen Twitter posts, you know, Pickford should be just a set and forget. He still ended up scoring one of the best FPL points for a keeper, despite you know his whatever his team was doing. He just got on with his FPL job and kept on collecting points. Yeah, so maybe Pickford could just be it. You know, whatever fixtures, just put Pickford and don't worry about the rest. It's Leeds, Brighton, you know,
But
Wolves
it will
having
be
that
an
shake
interesting
up.
question. Mean say Pickford at 5 million, and then Kelleher at Brentford at 4.5. I think people will go there first. I think.
Yeah. Kelleher, the good thing about Kelleher is that there's no way if FPL jack up his price, and then there's something wrong going up there. He can't because he's not a regular, so there's no reason for his price to even go up. But then he is a quality keeper. I really rate him. So maybe you could do um Pickford and Kelleher first and second. You know, is that possible? So in the match where Everton are playing Liverpool, that's when you bring in Kelleher instead. Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
thoughts there.
Yeah. Stuff. Okay, I think we can just move on to next one. We will talk a lot more when the FPL is live somewhere next month. But the quick key dates I just want to share with everyone. Transfer video open the second one, so called 16 June up to the 1st September 2025. The Premier League fixture already released today, 18 June. The FA Community Shield expected to play on the 9 or maybe Saturday. I think the 9 August. Premier League starts on 15 Friday. Liverpool kick off with against Bournemouth, defending their title, and ends on Sunday, 24 May 2026. But the key tournament there, I just point out, AFCON will happen somewhere end 21st December up to early January, some players, namely Mo Salah, would definitely involved in this tournament. I mean, yeah, maybe just quick your thoughts in terms of the event and tournament.
So yeah, so we transfer window out out is up and running. Um, I guess the problem at the end of the day is about the AFCON. Um, last season Salah was ever present except for that free hit week. Yeah, Salah was always in my team. So this it's not likely going to happen this time around. Uh, so and if I remember correctly, City has we can you guys can look it up, but I think City has really great fixtures during
Okay,
leading up to the AFCON time, so that Haaland may take over Salah's spot
okay.
as the key player for that. Assuming Haaland goes back to his first season form, then yeah, it was definitely there. But it does mean that Salah will you can't he'll probably be the most expensive player, so you can't carry him throughout that AFCON tournament. You'll rookie lah.
And bench him here for
Yeah.
the 3 4 weeks. Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah. I can't imagine people are benching Salah for that 3 4 weeks, and
Yeah, it's and there are other players there as well who will be off like Mbuemo as well. So definitely
yep,
has a always does an impact there.
great stuff. I think that's all that we have for this stream. Really plan to make a quick. I planned like 20 minutes, but it's like 40 minutes now. So I think that's all,
Oops,
everyone.
sorry.
Okay. Thanks for joining this stream. I think it's good. Like we just do some catch up. I think we're gonna return back once the FPL live and discuss a lot more in terms of the prices, the players, and also our drafting. So I think that's all, everyone. Thank you for joining, and your last word, me.
Take care, everyone. Enjoy the CWC if you're watching it. Otherwise, enjoy the break if you're not. And just, chill and let's, enjoy this transfer window as, hopefully everything comes out best for your team, whichever team you are at.
Right. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.